Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us this afternoon for Accountants Therapy meets Kletta. Now, Kletta is a fantastic bit of kit that's come over from Europe that is really doing a fantastic job of showing everybody how AI and automation and ingenuity can help with making tax digital. So, without further ado, I'll introduce you to my partner in crime, Robin, to talk us through how the recording is going to be done and everything else.
Yes, hello everybody. You all know me by now. I'm Robin, and I started Accountants Therapy last year. Delighted to have Matty from Kletta with us today. Just a few reminders, as usual, the chat is open. Please use it. But if you have any specific questions, please pop them in the Q&A box, as that really helps us to filter the questions through to Matty. And we'll do that at appropriate points throughout. This is being recorded, and you'll be able to access it later on YouTube. And thank you to everybody that's tuned in to watch the recording, and you're watching a recording right now. So, without further delay, Matty, we would love to hear more about Kletta, please.
All right, thank you very much, Tom and Robin. So yes, my name is Matti. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Kletta. So Kletta's original home market is in Scandinavia, primarily in Finland, and now expanding into other countries. We have several thousand happy sole traders using our solution, and the making tax digital for income tax in the UK has been in our radar for actually multiple years. We were planning to launch in the UK already back in 2022. While the plan was that the MTD for income tax would be kicking in the spring 2024. But as we all know, HMRC postponed that schedule by 2 to 4 years. And now it seems that finally the MTD for income tax is kicking in as of next April. And hence we are also active in the market now. So what I will now walk through is that I'll quickly walk through what is the overall offering of Kletta, and then I'll jump into the practical demo in which I'll illustrate the mobile app for sole traders, which is the unique selling point of ours, and then so also the accountant portal, which makes it super easy and efficient to review the records and utilize our AI-enabled matching and reconciliation features. All right, so let me share my screen if that's fine. So basically, I said Kletta has been from the day one been designed for sole traders, and that has enabled us to make it super easy, super intuitive, and efficient to use. So Kletta is working on a cash basis accounting, and hence it's a very great fit for sole traders operating on in the UK. So there is a invoicing feature, receipt capturing, mileage tracking, and it generates automatically the self-assessment for the sole traders. Okay, let's then jump into the mobile app.
Before you jump into the mobile app, Matty, how does your mileage tracking work? Is it done through GPS or is it manual entry?
It's done actually through the GPS, and I will actually illustrate it.
Fantastic.
Okay, so I mean, one of the key selling value propositions of Kletta is a super intuitive mobile app. So basically, I said this is designed for sole traders. I mean, what we have here is a very intuitive way to raise invoices. We have quite a lot of, for example, personal trainers, rental chair barbers, hairdressers, who are actually getting this kind of monthly, self-billing invoice type of a statement from the studio, so they can scan this kind of a sales report. This is actually feasible also for property income. So we're adding property income and property expenses also during the springtime into the Kletta. So after that, this will be a super useful tool for the sole traders who might own like 1 or 2 properties. It's not a kind of a fully fledged landlord solution, but it's a solution that captures both the business income and property income in one. Then Tom, you were asking about mileage tracking, so maybe I'll actually show that as a first. I mean, it's built on top of the GPS tracker, so it's actually using Google Maps under it. So in the beginning of journey, just press start, and then at the end of the journey, while I'm now not moving, then stop, and it confirms.
That's good. It asks you what the trip was about, which is quite often the hard bit with clients, is trying to say, well, what were you actually doing on that business trip?
Yeah, exactly. So, but that's very intuitive. So, but let's jump into the practical cases. I mean, receipt capture is one of the headaches typically for the practices serving sole traders. So we have a very modern receipt capture with OCR and Gen AI connected. So let me start with snapping a picture of the hotel receipt. It's quite crappy, but I'm pretty sure that our solution is able to capture the right information.
Very realistic. I like that.
Yeah. So said it's premium in, and then it actually the language model reads that what has been its accommodation, including breakfast, and then the AI or the language model then kind of predefines the category, and obviously the bookkeeper can change that later on, including kind of an explanation what it is. Given that it's a hotel accommodation, then it's categorized as a travel expenses. Okay, it's over there. Right. So well, I'm not going to walk through the whole invoicing here, but I mean, whomever knows what needs to be done, it's very intuitive. I think, as I said, like quite many of our users are using some external platforms for generating income. So, for example, if they would have like a sum up card reader, so they would get monthly statement what has been sold, and then it automatically reads what's the sale and what's the commission, and done. You have all the monthly sum up sales and commissions in your books. So I mean, when we are discussing with the practices, we tend to use the term data capture, and it's capturing income, it's capturing expenses, and it's capturing the mileages that people drive. And the car can be added both as a simplified flat rate basis, as well as basing on capital allowances. So, and the neat thing is that it also creates automatically a periodic update, so the sole trader can see kind of all the time the pro forma periodic updates, including all the line items, and hence when the period is end, you can already know what is to be submitted. We have the bank connection here, so through the open banking, having the bank's transactions here. Let's take another expense. So I'll do the one which I'll upload from the pictures that I've taken in the past. Okay, so there's from Aldi, we have the This is a barber, so some chemicals for the barber studio. Taking and record expense. Right. So now we can jump into the accountant admin portal, which is probably quite interesting for many of the practices. But that being said, do you have any questions, Robin or Tom, regarding the mobile app?
Not from me. We have a nice general question here, though, that
Oh, you do? Okay.
about how many self-employed people in the UK are using Kletta at the moment.
Well, at the moment we have some tens of users, so it's still relatively small number. So we are pretty much like a new entrant. We have I think 5 accounting practices who have now pilot users on board.
Following up on that question, then, with does the language model convert, say, Norwegian on a receipt into English if English is set as the native language? Which I think is a good question.
Yeah, it's a very relevant question. Yeah, typically it does. I mean, and that's a very handy thing with these ones. I mean, given that, for example, in Finland, we have people whose native language is Finnish. We have people whose native language is Swedish, and then we have quite a lot of immigrants who use typically the English version of the app. And yeah, it's capturing basically in a similar way like you would have ChatGPT able to understand different languages.
I've got a few clients who do a lot of work in Europe, and that is always my frustration every year, is being given paperwork in Dutch or French and being expected to be able to translate all of it myself. But I think that's a fantastic feature. I've got a few questions actually for myself.
Okay,
You
thanks.
mentioned about the property feature moving forward.
Yep.
Would you be able to submit property and sole trade income through one license, or would you have to buy a separate license for each source?
That's a great question. We have designed the solution so that you can use one and single subscription, and the neat thing is that when going through the bank feed, you can actually allocate income either as a business income or property income, and when if you have set it up in the settings that you are also a landlord, that will enable the expense categories for properties. So in that sense, that you can use one and single mobile app, and especially if you get the property or rents into the same bank account as your business income, it's very handy. And consequently, Kletta will then send the quarterly submissions both for business income and property income, separately automatically.
That's really good. And a bit of a technical one here, but when you're uploading the receipts and you're taking your photo or you're
Right.
uploading your PDF, before we start that, can you choose to do the accounts on the cash basis or the accruals basis?
That's also a good question. Our solution has been designed to support only cash basis.
Okay, that's good for sole traders. They don't need a lot of the time to have the accruals basis. And then another one, unfortunately, because I'm really liking the look of this, and I just want to quiz you on it probably for my own benefit. You can upload on the mobile app. You can, I assume, you can forward email invoices straight into Kletta. Is there an auto forward function at the moment?
Yeah, we are actually deploying that. I think it will come probably in March. And then we also have a web version of this one, basically with the same versions for the people who want to use desktop version, for example, raising invoices or uploading.
That's really good.
Uploading receipts from the computer.
And I promise this is my last one, Robin.
No worries.
Can you split an invoice? So let's say the client pays 50 quid 20 quid of it is personal, 20 quid of it is business. Can I split that on the invoice when it's being uploaded? Or do I need to wait for AI to do its thing and then do an adjustment later?
That's also a very relevant point. At the moment, there is no splitting function. I was just discussing with my product manager this morning about adding that, given that it seems to be a kind of a quite typical requirement in the UK.
Yeah. UK taxpayers are a nightmare for following instructions. Don't put your personal shopping through that, pay for a business. So yeah, that'd be a really cool feature when you can get that released. And thank you for the interrogation of questions then. You've answered them brilliantly. Thank you, Matti.
Yeah. Maybe one more thing what I could show is that we have also created the CIS invoicing in Kletta. Once again, this is covering the CIS subcontractors, which are quite often sole traders. So meaning that if you switch that on, then you have the CIS invoice as a alternative when raising an invoice, and then it automatically deducts the CIS basically based on whether you are registered, unregistered, or if you happen to be in the cross payment status. Right, but hey, let's then jump into the accountant admin portal.
So I've got a question for one of our long-term listeners.
Right.
So we have got members that have got a lot of European musicians, artists, creatives. Is that something that Kletta would, it's quite a niche area of accounts and tax, but would you say Kletta was well suited to looking after people that are sole trading artists and creatives?
I would say so. I would say that Kletta is best suited for people who sell their own work in a shape or another. So as an example, in Scandinavia, we have a lot of beauty industry. We have a lot of photographers. We have a lot of that kind of freelancers who sell their work. Given that this is a single entry cash basis accounting, this might not be a perfect fit for people who who have a, let's say, significant inventory or things like that. So what we can cover is basically the cases where people own van or some assets. There we are able to manage also the depreciations. But let's say beyond that, given that we don't have a balance sheet, so it's a very well suited for different people in the creative business fields.
I do love a balance sheet, but for a lot of clients, it is overkill. They just don't need it. For service industries, where it is the person is the business, you don't need a balance sheet in most cases. So
yeah, exactly.
I've got quite a few clients like that, and they just don't even know what a balance sheet is because they don't have one.
I think that's the point. And I mean, we have turned around the whole concept of designing the accounting software in that mode that we have kept the sole trader in the central position for everything, and thought through from his or her perspective. And accountant obviously has an essential role, but I mean, as long as we are kind of able to enable and kind of incentivize these self-employed people to use prudently Kletta for capturing income and expenses as well as their business trips, then the work for accountants will become very much easy. So I mean, now I'm in the Kletta's admin portal. This is a kind of a demo client here, exactly the same client that I just used. So as the latest example, I uploaded the Aldi's receipt, and this is a Plaid's demo bank feed here. So we could see that given that I just uploaded this receipt, which I actually had created to match with the demo bank fee transaction, the solution automatically match that. Whilst, for example, I think I have, here I have uploaded a receipt which was an exact match, but it was a close match. So then the solution prompts that automatically, and now it's, reconciled. The category is originating from the language model's, judgment. But if it deems to be wrong, or I can, as a bookkeeper, go and change it easily here.
Can you customize the coding and on the chart of accounts? Can you create your own, maybe?
We have now taken an approach that we will go with the ones that are in the self-assessment, just keeping this super simple. I think our own judgment has been that these sole traders very rarely need the actual management accounting. So it's more important just to get sure that
I get what you mean, because there's nothing worse than picking up a set of bookkeeping off a client and they've got, rent, rates, power, insurance. We only need to report one figure on the tax return for that, but they've got a code for every single one, and you've got a profit loss account as tall as you, when actually most of it could be banded together. So yeah, it's good that you're cutting that out. And for a lot of sole traders, I guess what you're trying to do is make it so that they only need to know what they need to know.
Exactly. So that's the point. And as said, if you think about the quarterly cycle as the MTD for income tax kicks in, the whole point is just to get the people to familiar with Kletta, understand how they can raise invoices or capture income through the app, how they snap a pictures of receipts, and if they try for business, then add those journeys there. Then everything will be visible here. So at the end of the quarter, the key task for the bookkeeper is to double check the reconciliation or matching. The ones that match automatically, they will be automatically matched here, and you can then go and check the related receipt as an evidence. You can also kind of do the cascading type of thing, as it's called in Xero, for some of the income or expenses, especially given that these people are not in the VAT register. So the expenses are also visible here. The income is visible here. The mileages are visible here, and then the periodic update is visible in a pro forma basis, similarly as in the mobile app. And furthermore, we have an in-app chat. So basically, the sole trader can ask questions from the bookkeeper, and then the bookkeeper can ask questions from the sole trader. For example, if we think about the case that there would be a question regarding some expense, so how this is related to your business. So you could snap a pic, refer to certain expense receipt and ask how is it related, and then that will prompt the question to the user.
Chat there appear on the app for the sole trader?
Yeah, exactly. So it's within the app for the sole trader.
And does the bookkeeper get a ping on their phone or on their desktop, or do they get an email to say they've received the chat message? Because I would imagine you could get some clients where they'll send you dozens of messages a day, and I wouldn't want to necessarily get 12 emails a day. But do you get some form of notification?
Yeah, I mean, we have now implemented the feature that it can send an email to the bookkeeper that there are unread chat messages.
That's cool. That's a good little feature.
then we have also, given that one of the, let's say, key cornerstones in order to practice to be successful with MTD deployment is the super easy onboarding of these sole traders. So we have also created there an ability to send an automatic messages for sole traders. So for example, after 1, 2, 3, 7 or 14 days, kind of reminders that, hey, do this, do that, and they can be kind of tailor-made or amended according to the needs of the practice or their specific guidance. I mean, obviously not kind of mandatory to use, but can help sometimes to kind of get rid of this kind of manual reminders and the likes. And one of the things what we have also here is that if sometimes the client, for example, approaches you as a bookkeeper that I have this problem and that problem in the mobile app, so we have created a kind of secure way to enable bookkeeper to log in. So by clicking here, it will create a temporary bin which is valid for 24 hours. So the bookkeeper can go and see how the things appear in the client's mobile app, and that might sometimes help with some situations that if the customer feels like lost, how to do certain things.
Can I ask, the agent dashboard here, the accountant's dashboard, is there a cost for accountants to have that access? Is there a cost to the taxpayer for an accountant to have that, or is that a free provision?
Okay, that's actually a very valid point. So let us jump to the. So our pricing for accounting practices is such that the most popular package is basically what we call unlimited. In practice, it means up to 100 sole traders, and it costs 99 pounds per month. So for the smaller amount of users, so if you want to get started, it's a £4 a month per sole trader per month. And if you have more than 100 clients, active on Kletta, we can have a bespoke pricing. I mean, given that there might be practices up to 500 or even more. So, but basically that's the price, and there's no separate price for the admin panel.
But if a client, for example, had signed up directly with Kletta, they have the mobile app themselves, we would need to move them onto our own agent license. So
yeah,
to be able to access them on a dashboard.
Yeah, and that's actually relatively easy. I mean, if that's the case, so our customer support can do that on behalf of the practice or give guidance how to do that.
Thank you. So are there more aspects that you'd like to show us, or would you like to talk us through a bit about your roadmap and the type of development that you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think basically, if I'm just recapping the admin portal, so basically we have the clients. It's very easy to invite new clients, just filling in here the information. Or if you want to do a kind of mass uploading, then there is a spreadsheet which can be populated, and our customer success team can also help if you want to kind of mass upload, for example, bigger amount of clients. But I think typical behavior is such that practices will want to test it and invite one or couple of customers, and then when getting convinced that this works well, than deploying this for the larger audience. Then yeah, let's discuss about the roadmap. So what, as said, what do we have now? We have all the key features needed for sole traders. You know, for raising income, capturing expenses, mileages, CIS, and so forth. What we will deploy still during the springtime is the ability to add also the property income and property expenses. We are going to add also features for VAT returns. I mean, as you might know, in the Eurozone, so basically in the continental Europe, the VAT thresholds are significantly lower than in the UK. So, for example, in Finland, it's 20,000 euros. So, effectively, all the full-time sole traders are in the scope of VAT. So, we have an integration for Finnish tax authorities and some others for VAT returns. We are continuously improving our AI capabilities. We have an AI assistant in the mobile app. So basically what that answers is that if the sole traders have, for example, certain questions regarding generic taxation or HMRC regulations, it's using a language model, foundation language model to seek the information, a little bit similar way that you would use ChatGPT, but then it's prompted for the accounting and sole trader needs.
And if somebody has questions, particularly the client is directly going to you guys for answers, but they're not getting very far with the AI, is there facility to speak to a human being?
Well, basically, if they are customer of the practice, then the most obvious channel is to ask a chat question through the mobile app, or I mean, if the setup is such that they can call to the accountant and call to the accountant and speak in the, let's say, human to human basis.
And for accountants, if we were using the software and had a question that we couldn't sort out via chat, is there helpline?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There is a helpline. We have actually set it up so that given that our core team is primarily based in Scandinavia, we have one of our pilot accounting practices who are now actively using Kletta also for their customers, setting up a customer support for UK-based customer support for accounting practice who are signing up, so they can provide both the technical guidance, given that and using kind of the language which is very understandable for other bookkeepers and accountants, as well as practical guidance how to use Kletta for serving the sole traders.
Good.
And can you do the end of year tax return through Kletta?
Yes, you can do that. So we know that some of the practices want to use their existing software like TaxCalc or similar one. That's possible, so you can get the CSV output from Kletta, whilst you can do also both the quarterly submissions and the final end of period statement at the end of tax year.
It's all looking very good to me. With the automation of the receipts, is there a way that we can set up a rule? So if I go to B&Q and I take a photo of B&Q, I can train Kletta, the AI, to say, right, if ever I go to B&Q, I scan the photo, it's automatically going to be repairs and renewals. Or does every receipt have to be manually reviewed? The AI says what it thinks it needs to be, and a human needs to go yes or no.
I think that's a very valid question. What we haven't decided to do, so we haven't started creating supplier rules, and for the specific reasons that given that the speed of development around language models and AI, I actually believe that the supplier rules will be, well, not necessarily outdated, but their role will diminish over time.
Yeah.
As said, what we are doing actively is improving the capabilities of AI. So what we have now in place is that if you are using what is called in zero environment cache coding, so doing an allocation from the bank feed. So if you allocate, for example, expense from Shell as a travel expenses for if it's a car which is a business asset, then it will automatically assign Shell going forward as a travel expense. We have a plans of deploying similar kind of behavior also for the receipts. As of now, it's basically primarily based on the foundation models understanding of the context.
So you're really thinking almost 2 steps ahead here, aren't you? Because I haven't, I think the supply rules has a place and a time, and you are right. Eventually, hopefully, software will go ahead. So you're really thinking a long way ahead with AI. So is AI going to be quite a big part of like the entire build, like moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, let's say my view and our view is such that especially if you think about this kind of a sole trader accounting, a few years in the future, there will be very limited actual bookkeeping work remaining for this client segment. I would say that the technology, especially around AI, is evolving significantly faster than the behavior of the, for example, tradespeople or beauty professionals. So there will be definitely role for bookkeeping professionals who can simplify things and help these people to get started with these tools. But I mean, our objective is that if you know how to use Instagram, then you know how to use Kletta, as an example. And coming back to the point that we are very strong within beauty and health related businesses.
Are you seeing that happen in the Scandinavian market already?
Well, we are, and I think there are few key things that are very enlightening for our people. One is that they start to understand their business, given that they see all the time the income and expenses, and they see kind of what I call pro forma tax return. So they understand that, okay, now I added that expense, that it's affecting to my profit this way. And given that it's a kind of a cash basis accounting, it's very easy to understand. You don't have a balance sheets and things like that, which complicate things. And then given that it also the receipt capturing feature gives you an explanation why is it categorizing it this way, so that gives a little bit of additional competence. So I think that it's a valid question that to what extent the accounting practices are needed going forward in this business. But I believe that, as said, focusing on providing a kind of a great customer support is a way to retain relevance. But I think all the kind of reconciliation and review activities will be conducted by AI agents, if not fully in 2026, but in 2027 latest.
You think as quickly as that?
I believe so, especially in this sole trader business. Obviously, when you go into the bigger businesses where there's a more judgment and one needs to understand context and there might be a kind of little bit of judgment and tax planning and all those kind of things involved, and then there's room for for accounting knowledge and human judgment even in the future.
I think it sounds like we need to get you back this time next year
Yeah.
to see
Well,
how that's
I'm
progressed.
sitting here thinking I want to sit down with Matty for an hour and just talk to him about what are the big differences in dealing with European governments and European tax authorities. Like, how have you found it with working with the UK government and HMRC? I mean, because it's been such an animal for us for 10 years that they've
Mm.
been rumbling on. How have you found that journey? Obviously, you don't have to answer that question if you don't want to say anything to get yourself in trouble, but how have you found it?
Yeah, I mean, let's put it this way. I think the tax authorities, broadly speaking, are not the fastest moving organizations and nimble organizations probably anywhere, and there actually tends to be a kind of maybe a behavior that the longer the history of the country is, the more
I know
more
what you mean.
Asian the kind of tax authorities are. So I mean, if you
Yeah.
go to some small Baltic countries which have formed their whole legislation in 1990s, and they are much more further in the
Mm.
digitalization of many things. I think we Scandinavians are very much following them for other reasons, but I mean, one of the differences, for example, between Scandinavia and the UK is that we are a very cashless society. I mean, I simply haven't had cash in my pocket for many months. I mean, you can go even to the market square and buy strawberries
Mm.
or ice cream with the card. And whilst I was like skiing in Austria a couple of weeks ago, I mean, you couldn't buy pay with card in some of the restaurants. So I mean, there is a difference. And I think it's not that much maybe between UK and the Europe, but it's also like in the Eurozone, there's a quite different,
Mm.
faces. And but nevertheless, I mean, yeah, I mean, we have been also a little bit like struggling with HMRC, and I mean, lack of proper testing environment and all those things have made it, you know,
Challenging.
challenging. I think that's the right word.
Yeah. I think every vendor we've ever spoken to has said the same thing. And I think that, you know,
Yeah.
HMRC are finally getting there, aren't they? It's good to see. Is there anything that you're waiting on HMRC for now, API wise, that you have ready to go, like your end, but you're waiting for them to finish?
Well, I mean, we are basically ready with um, more or less everything what we need as of now. Um, I mean, what I really would hope them to provide is a better test environment, because I
Mm.
mean, it ends up being that we need to some extent use the actual users and voluntary users for testing that everything works smoothly. I mean, in a at least close to perfect world, one would have enough, let's say,
Mm.
testing environment to test everything, and be having an ability to have also the year end APIs finalized. I mean, as far as I've followed up, some of the bigger vendors are still waiting for some of the
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
guidance.
true.
How many would, in an ideal world, how many would you have liked to be able to test with real life testers? Is there a number that you would have liked to
Yeah, I mean,
possibly?
I mean, if thinking that we would have wanted to test all kind of different scenarios. I mean, cases like where we have, in the same data infrastructure, business income and property income, and all kind of different scenarios and so forth. But I mean, I'm not too concerned. I mean, we have been doing the VAT returns for a long time in
Mm.
our system and so forth. So I think it will all sort out.
Well, we hear the same from everybody, and I think there's a general feeling in the accountants community that we're about a year behind where we all we've been saying it for a year. We're about a year behind where most people would have been like would have liked to be in terms of testing, in terms of readiness, in terms of knowledge,
Yeah.
the whole everything across the board. Another year would be nice, albeit that we've kind of got that with the soft landing.
Yeah, and I
Anyway,
think as a kind of new software in this space, not as such a new software, but new software in this space, we have also find it a little bit surprising that given that more or less all the accounting practice have some incumbent software, one that they use for their limited companies. They've been quite in the waiting mode, wait and see, and make decisions on additional software vendors. I mean, what we have seen is that very many appreciate the features and the easiness of our solution, but still have been in a little bit like wait and see mode. I believe now it will actually accelerate significantly, given that the self-assessment, deadlines were passed a couple of weeks ago. The final VAT returns after that. So I believe the rest of February will be quite active also in this space.
definitely. We're definitely seeing that in accountants therapy that people have switched their brain from self-assessment season and now it's MTD time. And we knew that was going to happen,
Yeah.
but it really has. So I'd like to ask you a question. What's your favorite feature of Kletta? If you had to just choose one thing, what's the best bit of it?
That's a tricky question. There are so
He's
many.
answered everything apart from this one. Now we've got
Yeah, I
you
mean,
stumped
Nice
him.
question.
I would say that it's still the receipt capturing.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, we have been benchmarking ourselves for the standalone receipt capture solutions, and I think we are at least on par, in some senses even further than them. But I mean, I would add there that then we have a great mileage tracker and all the other features on top of that. So it's the
You're
whole
not allowed to
combination.
do that though, because I said just one thing.
But
Can't can't have three things.
well, I mean, okay. I have to admit that now we are speaking with accountants, and if there's a rule, there's a rule.
You've got it.
It's always a grey area though in accounts and tax, isn't there? I would love to know a bit more. I really want to get my head around the pricing here because it sounded too good to be true when you were saying how much the licenses were each.
Yeah.
And can you run me through that again? Because I'm sure you said it was £4 per license, or you can get unlimited for a set fee.
Yeah, let me put it here.
Because I think what the real question I want to know is, a lot of software vendors, they have, you pay this much per month, you get these features. If you pay this much per month, you get these features. On that slide you showed me, it just looks brilliant.
Yeah.
The small, medium, large. So what
So
level of Kletta does everyone get in each band?
yeah, I mean, let's say our strategy is such that what we could call like a land grabbing in the UK, and providing an attractive pricing for that one. And as we can see, the behaviors being such that, as discussed, people might have some of their customers in Xero or QuickBooks, feeling that okay, they might be a little bit too, let's call it, overwhelming or complicated for their needs, and then furthermore the pricing will hike, especially if there's a need to have it also the receipt capture attached. Maybe not everybody likes HubDoc and so forth. So then it comes down that £99, it's actually up to 100 customers, and if you think about the universe of practices, quite a many fit into the under 100 sole traders, and especially when it comes into the phases now. then there's the next question. Everybody's thinking, okay, all the software vendors are increasing their prices. I think our approach here is such that what we have applied also in our home turf in Finland is that we might increase our prices as we go forward, but we are increasing that only for the new customers. So meaning that if we are, and then that is, our idea is that the kind of the pioneer clients or pioneer practice who are joining us now can enjoy this pricing also for upcoming years. And then they end up being happy, given that the pricing, maybe year down the road for new practices might be higher. So I mean, there's a first mover advantage on that one. I'm not saying that we would be increasing our prices, but probably that there might be, given that we are getting more features and so forth there. But as we speak, at least from here up until April, the prices are decent. I mean, it comes down that if you initially have like 10 clients, then it's 40 quid per month, and when you reach like that 25 customers active in Kletta, then you can switch to the 99 quid a month model.
That's brilliant. Thank you. I think we've got 5 minutes left, Matti. I don't know if you want to if anybody wanted to contact you or reach out to you, I would love to know, are you attending any of the UK accounting events this year? Would be my first question. And the second question is, if anybody watching this is interested in Kletta and wants to know more, how do they reach out to you?
I think, that's a very valid point. I mean, if you go just to the kletta.com or kletta.co.uk website and book a meeting there, I think that's the easiest way to get in touch. Of course, you can also send an email to me. It's actually matti@kletta.com or reach me in the LinkedIn. But I mean, and I think the best way, if you as a practice owner or representative of the accounting practice interested in Kletta, just go in our website and select their book a demo meeting, and me or some of my colleagues will then run a 20 minutes demo, and after that the practice can test with the pilot users free of charge for first month, and then we'll have a kind of a checkpoint whether they are really interested on proceeding with the full subscription.
And you were the founder of Kletta, weren't you, Matti?
Yeah, that's right.
That's fantastic to actually have the founder doing his own demo. It's brilliant. Thank you very much. I've really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Matti. We're just about coming up for time now, so it leaves me to say again, thank you so much for coming and showing us Kletta. Thank you, Tom, too, for sending over all those questions and grilling Matti. We've learned a lot, haven't we? And thank you to our live audience as well. You've heard how to get in contact. You can also get yourself into accountants therapy if you're not already, so that we can repeat that information for you if needed. And we look forward to seeing you all in accountants therapy and for our MTD Together part 1 that starts tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye bye.